Hey guys, Unfrequented World, just out checking trail cameras, moving trail cameras, and thinking about Bigfoot. You know, and as fall arrives here in Northern Ontario, I've been thinking more and more about food sources and things, and I honestly truly believe that if there is a Bigfoot here, it does not winter in Northern Ontario. I know on my trail cameras, winter is a dead time. Even the deer and the moose and all the big animals, they herd up, they move south a little bit. We don't have them around here as much. They're very hard to find. And I do get smaller animals, but only because I put out food. There's just that scarcity of food here that it's very tough on all the animals. So I put out a lot of meat products and things, and I feed my fishers, my weasels, pine martens, the mice. All those guys eat meat. And like I've said, I've never seen a Bigfoot track in the winter. But I do think that if they were here in this region, which is what we're looking for, which I believe they have to be out here, that they would migrate. So I think that fall is going to be our best chance and last chance for a while to catch something. So in that sense, I did put out some bait. Something arose here. I have an above ground septic system, and the groundhogs were digging a den in there, so I had to get rid of them. And I thought, well, we might as well take these out and feed something. And I threw a trail camera out at the back of the property just to see what would scavenge them. And we do have that footage, so if that is not your thing, I'll warn you, don't watch the trail camera footage. It's just a dead groundhog on a log, but you'll see what comes in and takes it. Usually, when we have our deer carcasses and things in the fall, fisher come and clean up a lot of the scraps. I've gotten wolves on those trail cameras, real timber wolves, when we do the deer kill. So, you know, I honestly, I think if Bigfoot was a scavenger in any way, you would see this behavior would be recorded somewhere. Because it doesn't matter how smart an animal is, when it's hungry enough, it's going to go for that food. And you can see that when I put out the trail cameras. The fox can see the lights, and he does not like the trail camera. But after 4 or 5 days, if I throw out fish skins or something, and it's the middle of January or February when it's minus 30 and there's nothing else for him to eat, eventually he goes for that food. He doesn't care about the light. He doesn't care about the camera. He just gets the food. And that's just pure survival. And I think if Bigfoot was a creature that was scavenging, there would be instances of that. So I don't think they're scavengers. So as I'm going along here, I'm checking all of this wet, swampy ground, which is heading back towards the marsh. I don't see any signs of weird footprints, just lots of deer tracks. You know, that could be Gage or that could be Coyote. He keeps running around ahead of me. I don't know, there are lots of coyotes in here. You know, there are main trails and trackways that are used all winter here by the deer and things, but I have yet to find anything definitively suspicious looking. Talking about winter Bigfoot, I mean, we have no evidence up here. You never hear of anyone seeing tracks or trackways. It just doesn't happen. It's not, you just never hear of it. It's really rare. I mean, I know online there's a few instances of tracks that they've followed in the snow, you know, down in the States and things like that, but are those areas where the snow isn't there for 6 months of the year? Because up here, it's hard to even find a moose track in winter because, like I say, they all herd up. So I don't think they're here in winter. That being said, we're still going to look because that's going to be a perfect time to fly the drone and be able to see in the forest and over lakes, frozen lakes, and look for tracks and things. And hey, we'll spend one season looking, right? If I hear of anything anywhere, of course, we're going to follow it up. But my hypothesis is that these things are migratory and that they're just not here in the winter. So we're just about 1 kilometer behind my house, right on the edge. The big swamp that we drone is back there. And I did find something strange. And just as I turned the camera on, I think the solution kind of came to me. This is not natural. This is something different. These are all piled here, stacked here, between these two trees. And if you look, there's a 2x2 down here, and I'm like, where did that come from and what was the purpose of this? And then I kind of thought for a minute. Originally I was thinking deer stand. Well, there's no deer stand around here or anything, so, but then it came to me when I turned the camera on, a ground blind. Somebody maybe somebody piled this here because, I mean, look, you've got a pretty good field for deer to come through here, and maybe somebody was laying here hunting at some point, because there's some bigger ones here that just, they didn't fall here. These are all kind of intertwined together, so it's not, that is not natural. They're kind of all stacked in there. But you guys make up your mind on what that is. I think I'm going to go with some kind of makeshift hide for hunting. So could Bigfoot be an omnivore? Certainly. I would think that if these creatures are real, they would be some kind of omnivore. They would eat meat, they would eat vegetables, fruits, whatever they could find. Again, we hear online reports of putting out fruit and vegetables and these things being eaten, but again, there's no solid proof. Nobody has footage of a Bigfoot coming in and picking apples that we can definitively say, hey, that 100% for sure is a Bigfoot. So maybe just as a quick exercise while I'm out here putting trail cameras, I'm going to keep an eye out for anything that's edible and just shoot it on my 80 acres right here just to show you guys what is around. I do have my camera here on my waist today, so we'll see what we can find. Up here we don't have a lot of wild fruit. We have crabapples, apples, all kinds of berries and things like that. Cranberries, wild raisin, all kinds of mushrooms, lichens, mosses, things like that. Just walking around, I found a couple things I forgot about. Mountain berries from Ash and choke cherries. Completely forgot about those. So yeah, there's lots of berries around. I mean, the moose and the deer, they'll graze on this stuff. Grasses, clovers, things like that. Lots of herbs, sages, all kinds of stuff. Smaller stuff. But would it be enough to support an 800-pound hominid? Not by itself, I don't think so. Of course, we have lots of deer and things that these creatures could hunt. Ducks, frogs, turtles, whatever, all that kind of stuff. But in the winter, like I said, none of that stuff is available. Even the plant life is buried under 3-4 feet of snow up here. So I just cannot fathom these things surviving here in the winter. You never see them out ice fishing, that's for sure. Yes, that was a joke, but that made me think as well. Now, guys who ice fish, which I put out a shack every year, know that there are lots of minnows that get thrown out there. Lots of little, fish that perch and things get left behind on the ice, frozen by different shacks, not myself, but you see it all the time. And what do you see? You see scavengers going out there, fox, and the odd fisher, the odd whatever. Anything that eats meat will go out on the ice, coyotes, and they will take the frozen fish. So I think, again, if Bigfoot were here and there were scavengers, that would be another excellent, probably one of the only sources, easy sources for protein. Now, I know guys are going to argue and say they're just too smart to do that. But hey, when you're starving and it's a matter of survival, they would do that. All animals, all creatures, even a human would do that. If you're starving, hey, danger aside, I'm going to eat. You would still do it under the cover of night, etc., but you would leave tracks. I mean, there's snow everywhere up here, so why does it not happen? Well, again, they're not here, I don't think, in winter. Then, as I'm saying all of this about not being here, there is the other option, which is hibernators. I mean, bears, raccoons, a lot of these things are hibernators or partial hibernators, chipmunks. You fatten up and you go sleep for a month. Is that a possibility? Could very well be. So for all the true biologists out there that actually have an understanding of wildlife and survival rates and things like that, which myself as a trapper, I've taken all those courses. I have a university degree in that. I have a follow-up post-diploma in environmental management, including animal resources, ecosystems, etc. Scientists will tell you that a breeding population needed to sustain any given species is 500. So would I think that there would be more than that? Probably. There would have to be, because of the wide range that these things are found. You would say that there are more than 500 of these animals. And if that's the case, and they're that spread out, we should be finding evidence. 500 of these things, minimum, moving through Canadian snows in winter would mean the finding of tracks. They would be using trails. With the skidoo systems that we have up here now, they are so elaborate. I could go across this country in any direction on the trail systems that we have. And in the winter, you'll see, we'll hike these trails and I'll show you guys, lynx, coyotes, wolves, fox, moose, all of these things use those trails regularly because they're hard packed, they're wide, they're like highways in the bush. And it doesn't matter, skidoos are up and down these things all day and all night, and these animals are still using these easy to travel track ways. So why, if there were Bigfoot, wouldn't they do the same? They would. Again, I'm not going to get into that whole can of worms of extra dimensional. I mean, if that's the case, why are they here? They wouldn't. You know what? I'm just not going there. And to be clear, I'm not knocking anyone who thinks that. I mean, if you think that these things are alien or interdimensional or whatever, that's great that you have your belief system. Great, share your ideas and everything. I personally just don't believe that. I couldn't search for something that was like that because you would never find it. So my belief is that this is something I can find, something that I can film, track, touch, shoot, which I'm not going to, but take a picture of. And I have to believe that or I wouldn't be out here searching, because I don't search for ghosts and I don't search for aliens, which are this in the same vein, right? You don't find them, they find you. And maybe Bigfoot is the same, but I don't know. I have no proof of that. I'm trying to find proof of a real flesh and blood and bone animal. So all week it's been really super windy and raining, so I haven't put the drone up. It's just too windy up there. But I do have trail camera footage, so I'll show you guys that. Anyway, where I'm going with this video, guys, is the more I think about it, I think we're on a time crunch here, and that's fall or bust. I think we've got to find something, or our best chance of finding something is here in the fall. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Add your thoughts, ideas, you know, other food sources, whatever you can think of. We're going to keep looking, like I say, right through winter, but the more I think about this, I'm like, fall is it. I think they migrate. I think they migrate south. Wouldn't you? If it was minus 40, windy, snowy, nothing to eat, wouldn't you? I would. Either that or hibernate. I mean, that's a real possibility as well. So here's one of my field guides, guys, for northern Ontario, northeastern Ontario. 350 pages. And there's every plant that pretty much grows here. So the ones I took pictures of today in my yard were just edible things that are growing right now, but there's all of these things. Not all of them in here are edible, some are poisonous. 350 pages worth, but the thing you have to remember is you can't get any of this stuff in the winter.